Welcome everybody to my presentation about Backlog Health, about DevOps, about the eazyBI practices, so a lot of good names there. And my name is Lauma, and actually what I want to talk to you today about is maybe not a presentation per se, more of a story about how we do things at eazyBI, what we can learn from, and how things are being built and developed over time, and that nothing is ever done, and we can always learn from us, ourselves, learn from you. So thank you also for all the nice presentations we have had here to inspire each other to get better. So, and what I want to talk about is about setting the correct goals and how we can do that very well by standing on some shoulders of the giants like DevOps and some other big names out there. And I have to admit that a few months back we had a very heated discussion within, no, maybe not very heated, but quite a big discussion within the team about prioritization, if we're doing the right things, if we're doing them on the right time. And I had my second thoughts about coming here and talking about it today because it looks like things are not working okay for us, and so what am I going to talk about? And, but then Ilza didn't let me back down, and I took a deep breath and I thought, okay, I'll tell my side of the story, and nothing is ever done. And actually, that is a good thing. We have this saying in Latvia that whenever Riga is going to be done and finished, it's going to drown in Daugavas, so we always keep on improving it, and that's what we do also with our processes and our tools. So keep building and keep improving is what we're striving for. So maybe why me and why I am talking about this? Firstly, for those who don't know, I've been in the company for over 11 years, which doesn't necessarily mean that I know everything, but it certainly means that I have touched everything in this company, and I've been part of developing all processes and all the things that we're working on. And backlog is one of my passions that I've been keeping my fingers on, and DevOps is something that I'm interested in as well. So somehow those things come together well in my everyday life. And when we're talking about building processes within the company and looking at the health and setting the goals, we have a lot of tools out there available. So there's all these big names. DevOps is one of them. There's Agile, there's Save, there's BDD, TDD, like a lot of them. And they are really, really good names, and we can learn and apply them in very, very good ways. But as you all probably already know, and I certainly have learned over time, that all of it needs to be taken with a little grain of salt, because applying those things blindly and just taking something and putting it in your team without checking if it fits you, it can actually have an opposite effect. Like people start doing things without thinking why, and just because Agile says so. And that's not something that we actually want. So it's important to hit that right spot between not doing enough and not following things enough and just letting it flow, and not doing too much and not concentrating too much on some kind of processes that actually don't fit you. As an example, so I have worked in teams that where retrospectives, for example, work perfectly after every sprint. And I have been in teams where everybody's like, why do we need this? Like, we just keep repeating the same thing over and over. And that is a waste of time if that's how it's happening. So you need to adjust those things. And also demos. Some teams are working precisely with their customers. It's just one customer, and you can really have a demo with them and show them. Other teams, even including eazyBI, our customers are all over the world. We can't have a demo with a customer. So we can adjust it to internal demo or even some other ways, but it depends. And so it's very important to hit that goal and to understand so what we want to achieve. So finding and setting the right goals is something that that every team should strive for. So what are you working for? What is your target that you want to get? And under this title, I also want to share the example that we have already, I think I have shared already before, is our support team, which is like, as you all know and have said previously, and we are happy to receive these compliments, we are very responsive, and we have very good support team, and I'm happy to work in it. But setting the goals also in support team, it was a discussion for us. And one goal that automatically comes to mind when you're talking, for example, about support is how many tickets are being closed by person. So we can look at that. But we very quickly dropped this goal. This doesn't work for us. This is not our goal. We don't need to close tickets quickly. We want to close them in quality with satisfaction from our customers. So we're not looking that our one or other person is closing more or no. We're looking at response times. Yes, we want our customers to be happy and that we want to do it fast, but some people need to work on one ticket the whole day while others can close like several very fast ones. A very similar example is about our backlog, that we set a goal that we don't want things to stay long in the backlog, and looking at the average days spent in this selected for development, if we look at it in a monthly level, it turned out that 1 month we had a very little time there, even though we know there's big tickets that nobody's working on. It just turns out everybody that month was very much working on reducing the time in backlog, everything that came in. Those quick tickets we quickly resolved, but the big ones stayed there rotting. So we need to look at how we turn that. So setting the correct goals, and as I started to say, finding the right metrics to measure those goals, that's a key part of success for monitoring your processes within the company. And also, as Thomas already started to mention, there is a difference between regular reporting, where you can follow maybe some, I don't know, are you in budget, are your hours in budget, or is your money in budget? That's a regular reporting that maybe you want to get on a daily basis even. But when you are looking about analyzing your processes and are you moving towards your goal, that's data analysis. And that doesn't have to be daily. That's not reporting. That is data analysis. That can be done monthly, bi-monthly, or at whatever time. It doesn't have to be saved reports. You can look at the trends, just drill through, understand what's happening. So there is a difference between reporting and data analysis. And when you're talking about processes, I think the difference is important. So under the sunshine of understanding that the goals are important and we need these metrics to measure those goals, we can agree that that's kind of a cornerstone of modern software development. We want to have good goals and we want to achieve them. And in a sense, now we get to the DevOps, that's the definition of DevOps, is setting the goals and moving towards improving the practices that how we're working in the team, and moving towards improving those processes and workflows that we have. So DevOps is a methodology that helps us define what we want to work for and how we could achieve it. And it's often done with these 4 cornerstone metrics. So the first one is deployment frequency, lead time for changes, change failure rate, and mean time to recovery. So those are the 4 main DevOps metrics that we also follow in eazyBI. And now I see those rolling eyes in the auditorium. It's like, Lauma, you even read those names, and we are never using these metrics in our everyday life. And it is actually, it's true, yes, we don't use these names. I even have to read them to remind myself which are the DORA metrics. But that doesn't mean that we actually don't do it. And we haven't followed these principles of delivering fast, delivering the right things, making sure that our things don't fail in the production, and quickly solving them. Those are actually eazyBI cornerstones as well, and our goals. And I will show you which DevOps metrics we're using, even though you might not think that we actually are. But before that, I want to remind you that the other processes that how eazyBI development is happening and process. So we are using Kanban. We are following the Kanban process. Our issues live in Atlassian Jira, as for many of you do. And We have the ideas status and to-do status, but then the most important ones are the ones that are selected for development. That's our shortlisted backlog, in progress, in review, and done as in delivered. So that's our development life cycle of our issues. And cats. The GitHub, the Octocat goes well with our cats. And that's where our code base lives, is in GitHub. So whenever we are doing some, working on an issue, we do provide an issue key to the pull request. And in pull requests, we can collaborate and review and make sure that we are delivering a quality stuff. And finally, all of that comes together in our favorite reporting tool, eazyBI. And if you haven't noticed this yet or haven't tried it out, eazyBI has the DevOps integration, which is, it's not per se like analyzing GitHub, but it's actually when you are selecting things that you want, and about analyzing GitHub, we'll have a talk later. But for the DevOps core metrics that I specified previously, you just need a few little clicks, because DevOps is the whole life cycle. It's not just the development. It's these all metrics together. So with a few little clicks, after you have selected your projects that you will import, you can select which are the incident types in your project, issues that are considered incidents, because that's one thing that DevOps measures. Select which of these is where your development things are being stored, which repositories have the links or the keys to the projects that you are importing. And that's it. Here we can start talking about deployment frequency. And already very quickly go into the eazyBI and get the basic metrics that are the DevOps metrics. So development frequency is how often do we deploy new things to our customers. And that's something that we want the eazyBI to be in active development, for it not to drown in Daugava. So we are actively developing it and deploying things. And while this pull request merged graphic might not be necessarily deployment frequency for everybody, but in our team, that's what it means. For other teams, it might just mean an active cycle, that your development cycles, that you're merging things. But for us, this is enough to say that we're deploying frequently, because everything that is merged is being deployed to production in the same or next day. So it shows us that we are staying on track. For the server, or data center, it's a little bit different. We are packing the versions on like some period of time. So in Jira, we have these fixed versions, and then we're deploying them. We have set our goals, how frequently we want to deploy. And in this report, where we have these vertical lines that our version releases, we can see how often we are deploying to server, and maybe if it's been a while without a version to the server, and that we need to get ourselves together and deploy. And obviously, we don't want, we are aiming not to have these two vertical lines very close together, which means we have had two versions very close together, which means that one of those was a bug fix version. Of course, that doesn't mean we are trying not to have those. We are trying to have a one line at each time. Next one is the lead time for change, which means how quickly the things that we have decided that we want to do, or we have had the new ideas created, how quickly do they get to our customers? So an idea is born, and now it can be used by our customers. So the DevOps definition says that this has to be really, really as fast as we can. And the traditional metric would be this one that you get out of the box when you are importing the data for the DevOps. And actually, it's just the issues average time to resolution for those that are not incident issue types. But no, yes, we are not looking at this metric in eazyBI, and that's okay. We have other things that we want to concentrate on that actually shows that we are working fast and in the speed that is satisfactory to us. So we are looking at the pull request development times, and we want to actually make those faster. So that's the time automatically imported measure that you get from the first commit until the pull request creation date. We're slightly looking at that, we're not pushing for that to be very fast, but obviously we don't want people to work on things very long. It gets stuck, it doesn't get done. We want them to be fast. But what we actually had a discussion about after last year's community days and after Sven's talk about developers' joy was about the review time, which is we have reviews of our pull requests, we review each other's work, and that's a very good practice. I, as a junior-ish developer, really appreciate the review that colleagues are giving to my pull requests, but what we don't want is that the pull request is just standing there and waiting for a review, and nobody is actually looking at it, which means that the thing is done, but it's not getting finished. And thanks to Jānis Justumens, who got inspired last year by the talk and made our Slack reminder, who is every morning telling the people who are assigned to review things, we have improved this time, so that's cool. And that's working towards our goals. But what actually is another one that is a metric that we look at that is not a maybe core DevOps metric, but does drive us towards understanding what is waiting and how long we are not starting the work on issues that we want is this one, which is a scatter chart where every bubble is an issue. We have the help scout links, which are counts of how many customers are requesting this feature, and days in status, which is how long the issue has been waiting to get picked up for development. And as the time goes, the bubbles grow bigger, multiplied days by the conversations, so more conversations, bigger bubbles, or longer days, bigger bubbles. And we don't want these ones. We can click on each of these and go to source and actually see what's happening. Why isn't this issue being picked up? And that's what we regularly do, even though some of them really, there are some limitations or nobody wants to pick them up. But yes, this is something that we look at often, and we actually want these bubbles only. So these are the other big ones we want to quickly pick out. So this is a very good metric for us. Change failure rate. So obviously, nobody wants failures. Nobody wants bugs, including eazyBI, and DevOps also talks about this. So how often do we get new bugs in the production because of new things we delivered or so on? And this is also a classic DevOps metric that has the incidents raised and resolved. That you would get when you import the DevOps stuff. So how many incidents are being created in each month, and how many are resolved, and how many are open. And no, we don't look at this metric per se. We created this one long before the DevOps integration, which is actually the same kind of report, only it has the page filters to specify the things that DevOps integration is doing automatically. So we are looking at bugs filtered and how many are created, open, and of course our target is for the trend to go down, for open issues to go down, and to create less than I wanted to highlight the page filters, to create less bugs and resolve more bugs. So that's the goal. Not always happens, as you can see, some months are not so good, but April was good. So that's the goal. And the last cornerstone of DevOps is the mean time to recovery. So how long does it take once we have discovered these bugs to actually resolve them? And no, we don't have a zero bug policy. And yes, this is pretty much the average recovery time. How long, it does take in similar way as we looked for change issues that are new features, how long does it take from created to resolved? This is for the bugs or incidents. No, we don't look at this actually very often because in eazyBI we have a kind of internal goal, as I said previously, we have a goal set that we are resolving critical bugs. We are resolving things that affect all of our customers or in any kind of security way. Those are being resolved fast, but that might not be reflected in the average so well. But then there are these bugs that are very, very edge casey that can actually wait. And our internal goal actually is better represented in this chart that we look at, which is a pie chart of what we have selected for development. Yes, we want to work on bugs. That's one part of the things. We are looking that we are always having some bugs that we want to resolve and not have them waiting too long. But we also want to always be working on new features for our customers. So if we would concentrate on the zero bug policy, which is one thing that I am advocating for, but I do see the other side of the discussion that we always want to deliver new things. And so this is something that we look at, that we always have some bugs, we always have some features to work on, and our product actually is already mature enough that there's already a lot of new features that need improving. So we also have a big part of improvements in our backlog to already existing features. So data-driven decisions is something that we look at. Once we have these discussions internally, we can look at the charts, look at, are we going towards the goals, is our continuous process trending up or down or in the direction we want it. So setting those goals and looking at them in reports and analyzing your data can help you understand, are you achieving them and what you need to do. So let those fiery discussions happen. It's important that you talk about those things, because sitting quietly in a corner and suffering in solitude that things are not happening the way you want is not something that is encouraged in eazyBI, and I wouldn't suggest anybody to do that. If you have something to add to the goals and to the whole process of your company, do it so that we can fire up that process towards the greatness. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lauma. Do we have any questions for Lauma now? Yes, we do.
Yeah, thank you for a great presentation. One question, what is your definition of the task? It was late. Yeah.
In the pie chart. Yeah, those are Jira issues. We have features, then we have the improvements and bugs, but they can be various sizes and various, so it's just one issue.
Tasks are, well, it couldn't be classified as any of other three, so typically
okay.
You mean, there was a task as well. Yeah, the tasks are more like, I don't know, upgrade infrastructure kind of things. Yeah, they very, very rarely they come up, but sometimes there are some kind of upgrade tasks or something that is not part of a feature and so on. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm jumping in the morning. Okay, next question.
Wouldn't you want to see, you showed those numbers in days, and wouldn't you want to see the trend underneath them, like for the previous months, for example? So it's not just 5 days, but it shows you the times in the previous months. So it's just not one number. It's just my long-standing wish. So I thought this is appropriate moment.
For which number do you mean?
If you go back in,
let me try.
It's early morning, so the English name for the spark lines. Yeah, would you want to see some spark lines next to the numbers here? Yeah. Well, next slide, for example.
This one?
Yeah.
But there are all times, last 12 months, previous months, and current month.
No, spark line with the, for example, so that you can see the current month and the last 6 months, for example.
Yeah, you could do it. This is just a kind of a classic DevOps. I think this is example chart that we have these average recovery times, but you could do it in a Sparkline way. Yeah, you have these. Yeah, we can talk about this. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. The things that are being imported with the historic kind of values, of course, you can see them over time and add them in the Sparkline. And my goal actually here is to say that yes, there are these big names and big reports or cornerstones of DevOps or other, but names don't matter. It matters what is good for your team. And if there is a report that actually is for your goal, we are happy to help you to build it. So it's just an example, some of the examples that we have out of the box and that we use, maybe a little bit adjusted, but whatever adjusting you need, we're happy to help with that.
Thank you. More questions? Anyone? No? Then thank you, Lauma,
Thank you.
for the presentation.